All right. Let's get started. I know you guys' time is very precious, so let's not dilly-dally too much, all right? Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. This is our second webinar of the year, and we're excited to have everyone joining us today. We know everyone's time is extremely valuable, so we appreciate a lot you taking the time to be part of the discussion and joining us today. Today's webinar focuses on a challenge we're seeing more and more become more increasingly important across the residential space, maintaining visibility and control as organizations grow and the operational complexity increases. So as a business expands, as your business expands, it's common to see more projects, more suppliers, more procurement activity, more reporting requirements, and more often systems supporting different parts of the business. So the challenge is not usually a lack of information. In fact, most businesses have plenty of data and plenty of information. The challenge is turning that information into visibility that leadership teams can use to make confident decisions. As I like to say, data-driven decisions. Today, we'll explore how leading residential construction businesses are improving control over bill of material management, procurement, job costing, forecasting, and financial visibility by bringing construction and finance together in HomebuilderONE and a connected Microsoft platform. We will also discuss why connected data is important, such as why connected data is becoming such an important foundation for AI, automation, and future growth. So before we get started, let me introduce you to today's presenters. Oh, from left to right, there is me, Mario Aguilera. My name is spelled wrong on the slide. Sorry about that. I'm the sales manager for Australia and New Zealand for sa.global. My background is in construction and ERP systems, and I've been very lucky to work with some of the biggest construction builders in Australia and understanding some of the challenges they have. To my right, there is Nikhil Lal. He's a digital business specialist of business applications at Microsoft, and he's our guest today. He will talk to you about AI and ERP systems and everything around F&O, finance and operations. And then we have Brenton Cridland. He's a consulting manager for A&Z. He also specializes in delivery and ERP systems for the residential construction space. Let's take a look at what we'll be covering today. So today, before we get into the detail of everything, I would like to quickly walk you through what we'll be covering today. We'll start with an overview of HomebuilderONE and the thinking behind why it was developed specifically for the residential construction space. From there, I'll hand it over to Nikhil from Microsoft, who will share Microsoft perspective on D365, AI, security, and why connected data is becoming such an important foundation for future growth and innovation. We'll then bring the conversation back to some of the challenges we're seeing across the industry and explore how leading residential construction businesses are improving visibility, strengthening financial control, and creating a stronger connection between the construction operations and the finance. After that, Brenton will take us through HomebuilderONE demo in action, where you'll see how these concepts come together within a single platform. We'll also finish with a brief look of what's ahead for HomebuilderONE and how connected data is creating new opportunities. Finally, we'll open the floor for questions and discussions. I believe you can put this in the chat and they will come to us. Our goal today is not to focus on software features. We understand that some of the biggest builders in Australia have all the systems that they built over the years. So it's not about comparing features, it's about bringing everything back to a single source of truth. So with that, let's get started. All right, a quick introduction about who we are and who sa.global is. So we've been a Microsoft partner for about 20 years now. And we have 35 years of experience helping businesses modernize finance and operations. Today, we support more than 800,000 Microsoft Dynamics users worldwide, and we operate across 25 different countries. We've also been recognized by Microsoft as Partner of the Year multiple times, I believe 12 now, and remain 100% focused on Microsoft Business Platform. More importantly for today's discussion, we've spent many years working alongside residential construction organizations, helping them improve visibility, strengthen financial control, and create a technology foundation that supports future growth. And that's what we're talking about today. All right, HomebuilderONE. HomebuilderONE is a purpose-built software for residential construction businesses. It's built on D365 finance and operations. What it makes it different is that it brings together the full residential build cycle within a single connected platform, from lead management and sales through to estimating, procurement, construction, finance, and warranty. The reason that's important is because the residential construction lifecycle itself is connected. Every decision made during the construction process ultimately has a financial outcome. Every decision you make has a financial outcome. Sales impacts estimating, estimating impacts your procurement, procurement impacts your construction, construction impacts your job costing impacts forecasting, forecasting impacts financial performance, and so on and so forth. We could be here all day talking about this. So yet many are still managing these processes across multiple disconnected platforms. Now, disconnected, we don't mean they're simply not integrated. They can be integrated, but at the end of the day, there has to be a single source of truth. So what that often means is that construction teams are working from one set of information, finance teams are working from another set of information, and the leadership team are spending valuable time trying to reconcile all these multiple sets of information. So HomebuilderONE was assigned to solve that challenge. By bringing construction operations and finance together on a single platform, businesses gain greater visibility, stronger control, and a single source of truth across the entire business. And as we'll discuss today, that connected foundation is also what enables meaningful AI adoption in the very near future. Before we explore some of the operational challenges we've seen across the industry, I would like to introduce Nikhil from Microsoft to provide some perspective on where Microsoft is investing and why connected data is becoming such a critical critical business asset. Nikhil, over to you.
Thanks, Mario. Hello, everyone. I'm Senior Digital Specialist here at Microsoft in Sydney. Been with Microsoft for about 5 years. Like Mario said, I want to spend like 5-6 minutes adding to what Mario shared and talk about our comprehensive AI-powered business platform. And before I share my slides, first slide, I want to talk about the perspective from a home building industry. Australia needs around 1.2 million homes by 2029. That's the federal government target. But as you know, who's working in the industry, this industry is under more pressure than it has been in decades. Material costs, escalation, skill shortage, and increasing compliance and requirements. So builders, from our perspective, builders who will win this environment aren't just the ones who are building faster, they are the ones who are running smarter and more connected business application. If you can move to the next slide, please, Mario. Perfect. So on this slide, what you're looking at is what I call the platform advantage. And it all starts with a simple idea. AI embedded in every tool that powers your business. From a home builder, what this means is your estimators, your contract manager, your project manager, your site supervisor, all working within an integrated environment where AI is seamlessly embedded within their workflow, which eliminates the need of switching between separate tools, something Mario previously touched on. The first element, the top element that you look at is Copilot and Agent. This is where a lot of investment from Microsoft is going in. If you recently heard where Satya was in the country, he shared about 30 billion over the coming duration, and we'll be adding more. Microsoft will be investing in the local resources as well. So going back to the Copilot and Agent, these two distinct but deeply connected capabilities. And Copilot, just to identify, Copilot is your intelligent assistant. It helps your team draft communication, analyze job cost data, and summarize subcontractor performance, for example. Agents, on the other side, they go further. They are your autonomous AI capabilities that execute business processes on your behalf. And then there is Copilot Cowork and Work IQ, which sort of unifies the knowledge across flow of work. So this is your organization IQ getting unified with the Microsoft stack, meaning your project manager doesn't have to hunt across 5 different systems to understand the status of a job. All underneath, and underneath all of this is what I think one of the most important phrases on the slide is single source of data truth. In residential construction, data silos are where margins evaporate. So when your finance team, your operation team, and your site manager all working from the same live data model, you catch a cost overrun before it becomes a loss. And the last part on this slide is governance plus security equals trust. And it's the foundation that makes enterprise AI safe to run. So this essentially is the framework. This is something that you're looking at why Microsoft, where we're investing, and AI and security aren't standalone. They are combined. They are one unified conversation. If we may go to the next slide, please. If I drill onto what I call is an architecture of a frontier firm. So at the foundation, what you are looking at is the headless business services. If some of you on the call are already using D365 ERP CRM, you probably are aware of this. Thank you for your partnership. What these are essentially finance, supply chain, HR, commerce, field service, and project operation. These are our D365 ERP CRM workloads. And they, what that means is through the layer above, they are now available for actions. They are available for tools like MCP model MCP to take actions and sort of drive insights. This allows agent to access these services directly, and they are no longer limited to user interface, and they can be called on as needed. Middle is the ERP agentic foundation, and this is where agent runs the business. You get Microsoft own first party agent. We ship them with our product, and we have a decent roadmap on that. And these are built on your D365 workflow. We also have a third party agent like our partner ecosystem, our amazing partner like sa.global. They're building their own agentic ecosystem, and they have that as part of our D365 layer. And what on top will get our customer excited is the ability to build your own agent for the process, which is very unique to you. So these essentially, when we talk about agents, aren't just chatbots. These are autonomous processes executing repeatable steps. For example, managing subcontractor communication, reconciling your process claims, and flagging job cost variance. So they handle the rule-based work. So your team focuses on decision that actually requires human judgment. And at the top is the Copilot, the layer your knowledge worker interact with. MCP worker in the middle, that is what connecting all these three. I'll be keen to sort of understand whoever is in the call, who's using D365, and how far are you in the Copilot journey. If you can just paste something like that in the chat, and we can have a conversation on the side. Next slide, please, Mario. Microsoft agentic vision is centered on a straightforward concept: integrating intelligent agent into familiar tools your team uses on a day-to-day basis. This approach sort of operates across two complementary layers. The first is agentic productivity, and this is the M365 and the Copilot stack I'm talking about, which empowers individuals to accomplish more. So when drafting, summarizing, and automating your routine tasks within your Outlook, team, and Word. So that's our M365 or Copilot capability. The second is agentic business application. Through D365 and Power Platform, where agents support business processes such as finance, supply chain, sales, and service. Here, agents are not only assisting individual, but also collaborating workflow across the organization. Both layers offer flexibility in deploying the agent. You can choose our first-party agent, or you can build your own custom agent. And the big pivot or a big shift that we are seeing in the organization or across our customer is how ERP is now the Copilot is becoming a UI for ERP. So long gone are the days when you're going in the ERP and clicking on multiple screens to get your insight of executing a process. You can do it through your M365 Copilot UI. And that's where a big shift that we are seeing in the market as well. Next slide, please, Mario. I think that would be my last slide. So this is just to provide an overview on our first-party agent. If you're a sales team, the key part for the KPI is getting the right qualified opportunity through the door and executing on them. So reduce the time of deal opening to deal close. We have these first-party agents who help us achieve those tasks. Similar to that, as part of a core finance and operation, which is the last layer, we have supply communication agent, time expense agent, and account reconciliation agent, essentially helping your finance team, for example, close the books faster. So these are some of the first party agents we have as part of our application. You can turn them on and use them. I think this is probably my last slide. And with this, I'll pass it on to you, Mario.
Thank you so much, Nikhil. Very excited. Always exciting to hear about what Microsoft is doing in the space, especially when it comes to AI, how they think about agents, and how they deploy them. It's very, very exciting. All right. Um, what is very relevant in residential construction is AI right now, and we are very excited at sa.global that we are working on some agentic capabilities that I'll touch on towards the end. Um, this is important because many of the businesses, your businesses, are still managing critical information across different systems, spreadsheets, manual processes. You know, the construction manager literally deals with the day to day on Outlook and a little note taker. So AI is about to change all that, and I'm very excited about it. Let's move to the next slide. All right, visibility creates control. That's what we call it. That's what we believe in, and that's what we want to preach. As your business grows, you've probably seen firsthand, depending on the area that you work in, how the complexity increases. More projects, more jobs, more suppliers, more procurement, more products, more color selections and options. And if you get really big, more entities, operating divisions, and so on and so forth. So while growth is positive, maintaining visibility becomes a very difficult job. So the challenge is not a lack of data. It's that information exists across multiple different places, across different teams, across different processes, different employees, and whatnot. So the challenge we're discussing today isn't construction visibility or financial visibility as a silo. It's connecting the two to make more informed decisions. So leadership teams, they're not just asking for more reports. They're looking for better answers. Questions like, do we have control over our bill of materials? How confident are we in our job costing? What is our WIP? Where are our margins? Where do our margins come under pressure? How accurate are our forecasting? How accurate is our estimating? Can we identify issues early enough to do something about them rather than finding out where our margin have gone at the end of reconciling the cost? So all of these questions are very important to us, and this is why we develop HomebuilderONE. This is why we develop my single source of truth, that to maintain all this information in one place. One of the interesting things we see when working with residential builders is that most businesses already have the technology in place or already have a technology in place. You've invested already in estimating system, you've invested in procurement, you've invested in project management tools, financial tools, reporting tools, and many, many other tools along the way. In many cases, those systems perform their individual functions quite well. If you got a piece of software to do your call forward, you can trust that it does it really well. So the challenge is not a lack of technology. The challenge is that the residential space, entire life cycle of the project is connected. So while the system supports a single particular action well, it doesn't support the project as a whole in a way that gives you complete visibility of the project. So procurement um, procurement is about not only what to order, it's about when it's been ordered, why it's been ordered, how much of it's been ordered, when it's been delivered. So finance know what's been paid, when should be paid, and how to project it. So reconciling manually gives you a quick scan of what's happening across the business, but it's not a long-term solution. So delay visibility makes it extremely hard to identify issues before they happen, which means that it makes it really hard for you to do something about them. And identifying issues before they happen impacts the success of your outcomes, impact the success for your cash flow and your financial performance. Because ultimately, every operational decision made throughout the build lifecycle eventually has a financial consequence, both positive or negative. And that's where the connection between the constructions and finance becomes so important. So, one of the clearest examples of that connection is bill of materials management. Because while bill of materials are often seen as an operational process, their impacts extend far beyond just materials being ordered. So let's start with bill of material management. Because while it's often viewed as a procurement process, its impact is felt across the entire business. Every cost commitment starts here. Every forecast starts here. Every margin outcome starts here. If bill of materials are not accurate, procurement becomes harder. If procurement becomes harder, job costing becomes less reliable. And if job costing is less reliable, forecasting and financial visibility suffers. So as your business grows, your bill of material management becomes more complex. More suppliers, products, regional variations, customer selections, um, more people involved across the process, you name it. So the challenge isn't just creating a bill of materials. The challenge is maintaining control as the business grows and ensuring everyone is working from the same information. Because changes made to the bill of materials don't just affect a silo part of your business, procurement. They flow through to purchasing commitments, project costs, forecasting, cash flow, profitability, um, and the impact is not visible immediately. It's discovered later through the procurement variances, cost overruns, forecasting inaccuracies, margin erosion, and that's why we are seeing leading residential businesses play a much greater focus on bill of materials governance and visibility, not because they want a better procurement process, but because they want a better financial outcome. Every cost, every commitment, and every margin starts with your bill of materials. All right. So once the materials are committed and the projects are underway, the next question becomes, how do we understand the financial impact of what's happening across our project? And that's where job costing becomes critical. So job costing. Job costing is where construction activity starts becoming financial insight. Every procurement decision, every variation, every labor cost, every material commitment eventually appears on your job costing. Most residential builders can produce job costing reports. That is no doubt about that. The next question is whether those reports help you identify the issues early enough to take action. Because by the time a project is complete, the opportunity to influence the outcome is already gone. What leaders need is visibility while the projects are still on the way. So you need to understand, are we tracking to budget? What costs have already been committed? Are there emerging variances? Is margin trending in the right direction? What is our likely outcome if nothing changes? These are questions that need to be answered. The earlier those questions can be answered, the greater your ability to protect your profit is. That's where job costing becomes much more than just a reporting exercise. It becomes a decision-making tool. Because this is where operational performance becomes financial performance. And in the residential space, where small cost movements across multiple projects can quickly accumulate, having that visibility becomes incredibly valuable. The goal isn't simply to understand what happened. The goal is to identify trends and risks early enough to influence the outcome. As again, data-driven decisions. If you have the right information at the right time, you'll be able to do the right move to avoid losing money. And when we connect an accurate bill of materials information with a reliable job costing information, something important starts to happen. We improve financial visibility. So let's look at that. Financial visibility. So when we step back, the bill of materials and job costings are not really the goal. The goal is for you to have full financial visibility, because financial visibility is what allows you or your leadership to make confident decisions. This doesn't happen in a month end, not when the project is finished, but well, there's still time to influence the outcome of your project. So when your bill of materials, procurement, construction activity, and finance are connected, financial visibility improves. Not because you're making more reports, not because you have your team working harder, but because you're working from a single source of truth, a source of truth that has access to all the important data. You're no longer trying to piece together information from multiple systems and spreadsheets and chasing your bill manager for the remarks. Everything is in the system, one single source of truth. So you're seeing the relationship between what's happening operationally, and what that's likely to mean financially. That leads to another set of questions. Questions like, what is a current WIP position, your work in progress? Are projects progressing as expected? Are margins being are our margins being threatened? Are they under pressure? What does our forecast looks like based on what we know today? Are there emerging risks we need to address sooner rather than later? Answering these questions with the right information becomes a lot easier. And that is important because leadership teams don't make decisions based on what happened last month. They don't make decisions on what happened last quarter. They make decisions on what's happening now. And they will make decisions based on what they believe will happen next. That is forecasting. What leaders really need is connected operational and financial data available in real time when they need it. Because when data is connected, your forecasting, your reporting, your decision making, and your confidence becomes more reliable. Ultimately, that's what connecting constructions and finance is all about. And that's why we built HomebuilderONE. Not because we wanted to go out to market and replace ERPs, because we wanted to, it was because we wanted to augment our already great ERP. That's why we work with Microsoft. All right. So let's now do a bit of a walkthrough of what HomebuilderONE is in relation to the three topics we just spoken about: job costing, bill of materials, and financial visibility. For this one, I'm going to pass the Microsoft over to Brenton. So, Brenton, over to you, mate.
Thanks, Mario. Today, I'm going to focus on three areas of HomebuilderONE that matter most to a residential builder's team: dynamic bill of materials, pricing, and work in progress. I've chosen these because they create a lot of day-to-day work across the product, estimating, procurement, sales, and finance. They affect how quickly changes can be made, how confidently teams can rely on the numbers, and how easily the business can trust what comes back out of the system. Keeping a home range current is a lot of work for builders. Designs change, suppliers change, standards change, and the customer's expectations are always. The challenge is not just setting up the next home, it's keeping the full range accurate without creating extra admin or introducing errors. In a lot of businesses, that effort sits across estimating files, setup tables, various templates, and a few experienced people who know how it all actually works. Now that becomes hard to manage as volumes grow, and that is when the office starts feeling it through quote rework, procurement issues, outdated assumptions, and margin questions. What this screen is showing is a way to use a rules-based engine to manage all of that. Most of the structure across a home is repeated. What changes is quantity, configuration, dimension, or when something applies. Instead of maintaining multiple versions of the same logic, you set the rule once and let the system apply where it should. So if a wall type changes, a facade condition changes, or a standard inclusion changes, the team is not rebuilding everything from scratch. They're updating the rule, and the system carries that through. Now that's a much cleaner way to manage product changes across a growing range. It's also price date effective. So you can see what was valid at a point in time, make changes going forward, and keep the history intact. That becomes important when the team needs to understand what applied to a quote, a contract, or build at that time, without creating confusion as standards and inclusions move on. The same logic applies to upgrades and options. Some are common across the range or across multiple home types. Others apply only to certain facades or regions, or because of a design, engineering, or specific market requirement. This system gives the office a structured way to manage all of that, without relying on spreadsheets or people having to remember what should or should not apply. For the team, that means less manual checking at quote stage, less reliance on a couple of experienced people to catch exceptions, and a process that is easier to train, maintain, and scale as your range grows. The same approach carries into pricing. What this screen is showing is a rules-based price engine. So pricing is not dependent on someone remembering what should apply. If you need to manage region-based pricing, supplier changes, category movement, or margin adjustment, the framework is there to do it in a controlled way. And that matters because as builders, you all know that this is where you'll feel the pressure quickly. Costs move, promotions change, and the market stays competitive. The challenge is being responsible without losing control, and that it is this structure that's going to help you achieve that. It also gives the builder better visibility into why a price is what it is. If there is a supply increase, a margin issue, or a pricing decision by region, the team can easily trace that more clearly instead of trying to work it out after the fact. It also improves handoff across the office because product estimating, procurement, sales, and finance are all working from the same logic. Now for HomebuilderONE, job costing sits at the heart of everything we do, because this is where the business sees whether a job is on track or starting to drift. And that matters to more than finance. It matters to delivery teams, commercial teams, and leadership, because once a job starts, cost movements follow quickly. What this gives the business is a clearer, more current view of that movement, so issues can be seen earlier and decisions can be made with better information. Because the operational and financial side are working from the same flow of transactions, the business is not waiting on manual reconciliation to understand where a job sits. Costs are recognized when they should be. Claims update what they need to update, and the office gets a more reliable picture of performance without the usual lag. So when the team wants to understand how jobs are performing against budget, the visibility is there in real time. You're not waiting until the next month end to find issues that should have been picked up earlier. That gives delivery teams earlier visibility to issues, finance cleaner reporting, and leadership better confidence in the numbers. At month end, work in progress is much easier to produce. The system already has the transactions and the logic it needs, so the process is faster, cleaner, and more reliable. As simple as refresh, calculate, turns your whip from a finance exercise into something the business can actually use to manage performance. So stepping back, these capabilities work together. Better product control supports better pricing. Better pricing supports stronger job costing and work in progress. And when all of that sits on one platform, the business is easier to run and easier to scale. Ultimately, this is about giving your business a platform that supports a modern builder properly. One that helps product teams move faster, commercial teams price with more confidence, and finance teams trust the numbers they're seeing. And through our partnership with Microsoft, you're not buying into a niche program trying to keep up. You're stepping into an ecosystem that scales capability, ongoing investment, and a roadmap designed for businesses that want to grow. This is really a snapshot of how HomebuilderONE helps residential builders simplify complexity without losing control. We'd love to go deeper into any of these areas and understand how your business works today and show you where this can create real operational and financial value for your team. Thanks. Back to you, Mario.
What we've discussed today and what Brenton has demonstrated is how HomebuilderONE brings those processes together within a single platform. Giving those construction teams, finance teams, and leadership teams access to the same information, the result is simply greater visibility, greater confidence in the numbers, and the ability to identify risk and opportunities earlier. Connected construction and finance is about giving leaders a clearer understanding of what's happening at every corner of the business, what it means for them financially, what actions needs to be taken to ensure the success of the business. And that is exactly what HomebuilderONE is designed to support. So now,
Thanks, Mario.
Now, before we wrap up, I would like to leave you with a quick look of where we're heading next in AI. So one of the themes that Nikhil touched earlier was artificial intelligence. The reality of AI is that it's only as valuable when it has access to connected and trusted data. We say at sa.global, AI without context is simply just noise. So it creates a foundation. All of this together creates a foundation for much more than simple reporting. It creates a foundation for real intelligence. What you're seeing here is a snapshot of some of the agents we're working on at HomebuilderONE for HomebuilderONE. These are not chatbots. These are not generic AI tools. These are construction-specific intelligence that can help you identify risk, surface opportunities, and support better decision-making. Whether that's understanding the margin performance across your communities or regions, understanding procurement and or vendor risks, analyzing your option performance, how much of something have you sold, where is it popular, where is it not, monitoring project schedules, improving forecasting, and providing executives with early visibility into emerging issues. We have a complete framework in which we develop AI. If you want to know more, please do reach out to us because our agentic are already are prepared for demos, people to see them, for us to put it to the test. These are 9 of what we have right now already. We have more, and we continue developing every single week. So the common thing with all of these is that these capabilities all rely on the same thing. AI relies on one thing, and that's connected operational and financial data. Without that, we cannot have good AI. And that's why today's discussion around visibility and a single source of truth is so important, because most vendors will start with AI first, problem second. We believe solve problem A first before we move into problem B. And then perhaps problem C can be helped with AI. But problem A is data. If your data is not connected, no amount of AI can say that. So the common thing here is visibility. Today's discussion is visibility. Today's discussion is single source of truth for your financial performance. So we're incredibly excited about where this is heading, where we are heading as a company, and what all of the work that we're doing means for the future of residential construction. HomebuilderONE is a product that is being sold here in Australia, but it's also being sold in the US. And we are getting reports from both sides of these AI tools being welcomed very well. Let me move to my next slide. All right, key takeaways. As we wrap up, I would like to leave you with 3 takeaways for today's discussion. The first is that construction and finance are more connected than ever, or should be more connected than ever. Every decision made throughout the build lifecycle ultimately has a financial outcome, whether that's a change to a bill of material, a procurement commitment, a variation, your ETSs, project delay, and those decisions eventually impact your margin forecasting, cash flow, and your overall business performance. The second is that visibility creates better decisions. The businesses gaining the greatest advantage are not necessarily producing more reports. They're gaining earlier visibility into what's happening across projects, cost, commitment, and financial performance, giving the leadership teams the time to respond and take action as needed. And finally, creating a single source of truth is becoming increasingly important, not only because it improves reporting and the visibility today, but because it creates a connected data foundation needed to take advantage of the new tools of AI, automation, and technologies like Microsoft Copilot in the near future. Ultimately, connecting construction and finance is about giving leaders greater confidence in the numbers, greater visibility across the business, and a stronger foundation for future growth. Well, let me put up the last slide here, which is thank you and connect with us. Please have a scan of the QR code. Let's book some time with me. Let's have a chat. If we need to get to a demo, let's do a demo. If you want to talk pricing, get in touch with me and I can help you through that. We really appreciate everyone in the chat right now joining us today in the Connecting Construction and Finance with HomebuilderONE. We hope the session has provided some valuable insights to how residential construction businesses using HomebuilderONE are improving visibility, strengthening financial control, and creating a good foundation for future growth. So if you have any questions about anything, HomebuilderONE, or even Microsoft Dynamics 365, I can help you with those. So anytime, please feel free to reach out. And again, big thank yous to Brenton, Nikhil from Microsoft joining us today. My marketing team that did an outstanding work in setting all this up. My regional team, again, supporting everything we do over here.